Hi, and welcome to Coach's Corner, where systems matter and both personal and professional learning and development is beneficial for everyone and essential for some. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Let's get started.
So then, with moving to 36 to 40,
Yeah.
We'll talk about all three systems now a little bit, or a little bit more with the company system.
Yeah.
But now you've started your first business.
Yeah.
And are now out of the school.
Yeah.
And at this point, you're not coaching me, your son at this point. Is that correct? Or was it on the tail end of like around 39, 40 that you were?
You know better than that than me, but I know that I had started my own business. So when I left the school district, I went into this financial services industry under another company.
Yes.
And then I was like, I don't like what they're doing here. And so I went to another company for about a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
And I go, you know what? I can do this better than either one of these guys. So I said, I'm going to go build one of the best financial services industries that the world had ever known.
Got it.
Right, through the systems. And then at the tail end of like maybe 39, 40, somewhere in there, we get a call from somebody that we work with down south in the after school program.
Oh.
And they go, hey, let's meet up. And I said, nope, I'm doing this. They go, please. You know. So they baited me in, and it was this gal and my mom. Let's just have lunch. So they sucker me in, and they go, you know, we heard that your system is really getting heightened, blah, blah, blah. And so that was really our second business, which was Consult for Kids.
Got it. So, and coaching was from 41 to 45, so we'll get into the next one. So,
Yeah.
So now with, the holistic system and the spiritual religious side, how are you there?
You know, things start to falter, right? It's
Right.
like we talked about, this balance is a bunch of crap, whoever says that. So if we look at the 5 things within the holistic system,
Yeah.
you know, spiritual religious is going down because the career material was at a heightened sense of whatever. Plus my family as well, because, you know, the kids and stuff, which my wife took the brunt of that.
Right.
You know, because I'm over here and I was driving 2 hours to LA, you know, Monday morning and then staying until Thursday night and coming back. So she took the brunt of that. So her, you know, family, you know, friends was way up here.
Yeah.
Spiritual religion for both of us was way down here. I'm way crazy off the deep end, off career material. Right. And then, you know, physical health, I don't know anything about that. I just completely said, screw that.
Okay.
Personal, social, I mean, right? So, because we were really going for, you know, in the areas that made sense for each of us.
Got it. And so then moving into family friends for that 5-year period, it was.
I don't think I had any.
Yeah. It was about when you were 0 to 5, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was like,
yeah.
and I would go, who are you? Right? I wake up, you know, like I said, I'd be gone, you know, Monday through Thursday night or whatever you say that. So Friday, you know, night, I'd stay the night in my own bed. And Saturday, I look up and I go, who are you? Right? I mean, she's like, I'm your wife of 15 years and your girlfriend of another 15, you idiot.
Yeah.
Right? So it was, you know, it was tough.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like you said, health, physical, probably the worst it's ever been.
Oh, yeah. I think I got up to somewhere in there. I got to 270 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I run about 250 now.
Mm-hmm.
But I work out, so it's not a bad 250 in my belly, you know, I guess. But it was a bad 270. It was a fluffy, soft 270. And, you know, I was eating out all the time, you know.
Sleep could have been good because you were in hotel after hotel.
Yeah, and we got a little apartment in Santa Ana because we were with the largest after-school program in the world. And, you know, there they had 4 different regions and they had 2,000 employees and probably served however many hundreds of thousands of kids.
Yeah.
And we really helped them to develop some of their systems. We did a lot of their training and leadership and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, that happened for probably 2 or 3 years. And then we had several of our consultants in the field. So we would train them in theory and they would go into the field. And so, yeah, it was, you know, in hindsight,
A rough
yeah,
health, physical whole 5 years.
Yeah, you're eating out fast food all the time. It's probably not a good situation.
Yeah, and then I can assume that for the next 5 years, your personal social was very small or minimal as well.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't collect. I couldn't do anything, you know.
Yeah, just
I mean, I'm sure I went time to time and different things, but yeah, there was none of that.
right. Okay.
You know, I was doing career material, and my wife was doing family friends,
Yeah.
raising the kids. Yeah.
And then with with career material now. At this point, I believe that in one of your videos, you said this was the time that you met your business mentor, Les.
Yeah, Les. So he
Yeah.
was at the tip end of that, like at 35,
Mhm.
and he taught. You know, God's a funny dude,
Yeah.
right? So he taught me how to do networking and referrals,
Okay.
and really networking. He
Yeah.
had one system, and he wouldn't let you deviate off of it.
Okay.
But he has 4,500 agents now, so I'm imagining he's.
Well, he's got a system.
Yeah, he does have a system. We used to butt heads pretty good,
Okay.
but yeah, I really enjoyed him and needed him, and you know, I didn't know I was going into
Yeah. All this.
business. I didn't know, you
Yeah.
know. So God's funny. He's got a sense of humor for sure. What the heck, is there a bug up there? But yeah, so and he was very good. He really taught me a lot about business, how to sell,
Yeah.
how to negotiate, how to, you know, do networking really well, stay in a hot market,
Yeah.
you know, stuff that's critically important for any business.
Right. And then now, you know, you've opened your own business, GFI.
Yeah,
Which is
Global
your-
Freedom Insurance.
Yeah, which is now you said your second or first legitimate business.
It was my first one.
Okay,
Yeah,
got
so
it.
that was our first one. That was our first corporation.
Okay.
And then after a couple of years, they suckered me in, and Consult for Kids became a DBA underneath there,
Yeah.
which I know they don't really go together, but in my mind,
It was-
everything we do helps youth,
Right.
because all of our money will go back there some way. Not all of it, but you know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying.
got it. And so, running your first, you know, legitimate business, or I'm sorry, but you know, your first business, that had to been tough, not easy, because you really didn't know what you were. I mean, you knew what you were doing because you had 223 employees, but running your first home business, was it tough or no? Not necessarily.
Very tough, because so when you are given, I mean, we had to hire them,
Yeah.
but you're given
These.
the 223 people, you're given the students,
Right.
you're given the money, you're you're given all this stuff. Well, I had to go recruit people from scratch, right? And he had a good system for that. But you know, I mean, look at a deck of cards.
Yeah.
There's only so many aces, there's only so many kings, there's a lot of 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s.
Yeah.
But until you get to those face cards, those are the go-getters.
Right.
And so, you know, you're recruiting people in, and your back door is bigger than your front, because there's in the deck there's a lot more 2s through 10s than there are jacks, queens, kings, and aces.
Right.
So you know that was hard. And the other part about it is when you get to a face card, they don't really want to be bothered much. Right. So I had to learn the hard way sometimes, where I'd recruit these great people and I would be on them too much, because come on, we got to do this, but they would do their own thing.
Yeah.
But I tried to explain to them that's not systemic. I tell people are not duplicatable, but systems are.
Right.
And a lot of people that are face cards, they don't get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I say, yeah, you could go out and do $1 million a year on your own pen. But the goal is, the reason you partially got in this business is so you could do $1 million by training others to do what you do. That's when it's fun. And so they couldn't get that or grasp that concept.
Got it.
And so that was so that's difficult. By here you go versus you got to go from scratch and build all that.
Got it.
Because I have the best system in the world. I don't have anybody to use it with but myself.
Right.
Yeah, that's tough.
Got it. And then so as we move to the individual system with mindset, where were you there?
Up and down,
Yeah.
right? You recruit somebody in, you're high. It's a teeter-totter. It's
Yeah.
a roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
You're for the first time in my life, I didn't know where my next paycheck was coming from. So it's a
Yeah.
little bit nerve-wracking and scary. And
Yeah.
do I spend more time recruiting? Do I spend more time selling? Do I spend,
Yeah.
I got to feed my family, right?
Absolutely.
So it's just trying to, kind of muddle through that along the way. And there was many people I brought in the business, they could never get past being their own boss. So I would, call them, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm waiting to make some phone calls. It's 9 o'clock. I'm like, for what? Well, they're probably, then, at noon or something like, then 3 days later, hey, what are you doing? Well, I'm waiting. What the hell are you waiting for?
Right.
Make some contacts, dude. That's the only way you got to get the word out. You got to blink on people, right?
Right.
And, and then it was, at 1 o'clock. Well, I'm waiting because maybe they need to digest their food. There's always these excuses.
Yeah.
And they weren't able to be self-mastered and self-disciplined enough to go out and do the things that were necessary, because it was really an easy business.
Right.
Find contacts, set appointments, give a presentation, collect a check, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
And then if you wanted to go into the recruiting business, go recruit somebody, teach them how to set appointments, teach them how to give the blah blah, or what I call the blah blah, the presentation, the sales pitch, and then collect the check, and then right. I mean, that's the whole business.
Yeah.
It's really simple.
Got it. And was it tough on the mind for you for both, one, this extra weight that was gained just kind of in a snap of a finger, and then also not spending time with, wife and the 2 kids?
No, and I didn't even think about it, dude. I get so focused and so driven on my task at hand. I'm like a cobra on a mouse.
Yeah.
Like that mouse ain't gonna make it out that room.
Okay.
I'm very intense. I'd probably been a great surgeon.
Yeah.
I can keep my attention span for 12 hours. Like, when you were born, they did the suction cup, and your head was this long. You look like Maggie Simpson.
Yeah.
And I sat there for like 4 hours. I didn't move. All this, the family behind me, because I was like, man, if you hurt my son, we're gonna have a problem. My firstborn,
Yeah.
And so I could be very focused for a very long period of time.
Got it. And then I'm assuming that you're getting organized. Had to have got better, running your own business on top of having all these employees. Is that true?
Better and worse. So, right. So you don't have as much time. So, you would think it would get better.
Right.
So, and then you start running away from the system a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's what I call the raccoon effect.
Yeah.
Right? The raccoon chases the next shiny object.
Yeah.
Right? And that's no good.
Right.
So I was doing that. Right? I gotta drive to LA, I gotta do this, I gotta recruit this, I gotta instead of just going, no. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right? Mindset, get organized, solution showcase, collect the data, right?
Yeah.
And that's where people get screwed up, because most people don't have a system.
Yeah.
If they do have a system, they don't have a mentor that can really help them.
Mm-hmm.
So you're double whammied. And then on top of that, if you don't have any of that, or if you do have any of that, you can get sidetracked really easy, because it doesn't always work the way that you want it to. It doesn't always so I was the leading guy in the first financial services business. I was a leading recruiter, and I was a leading sales guy. And so, I do a $50,000 deal.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, wow, I'm like, you guys don't get it. I would do my 1,000, 2,000, 1,000, 1,500, 900, right? And then you would run into the whale.
Right.
These guys wanted to go out and whale fish.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. I went out and tried to find the mackerel or the little guys,
Yeah.
and then you're going to run into a whale.
Eventually.
Yeah. And so, your first whale, you're like, hey, Les, come talk to right? Because you don't know. You think it's no different.
Right.
But you think it's different.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. I didn't experience a whale.
Yeah.
I could get the,
Yeah.
the shark in, or the,
Yeah.
whatever, the marlin,
Yeah.
I could get those in, but how do you get a whale in?
Right.
And then you learn. And so you got to have that learner's mentality all the way through. You have the best system in the world, but there'll be little slight tweaks and adjustments to it. And that's why I say have a mentor, because they may be able to see something that you haven't, because they've experienced it longer or whatever.
Got it. And then with the solution showcase, you were obviously doing.
Just busy. I mean, it was freaky. I remember saying when I was 18 years old, or no, I'm sorry, when I was 20 years old, 21 years old, we already talked about that. So I'm getting up at 4 a.m. I'm working 2 hours, 8 hours for the teaching credential program. I got another 2 hours of practice.
Yeah.
Right. 18 hours a day. And I remember saying, I can't wait to get out of here so I don't have to put in that much time. Well, be careful what you ask for.
Right. And then, with collecting data and thoughtful advancement, how were those?
Same thing, sporadic, right?
Okay.
So more informal than formal because, it takes a little time at first,
Right.
to collect data.
Yeah.
But in the end, if you're the supervisor, you're the boss, if you're mom or dad, it's better to collect that data because then you know how to thoughtfully advance. So, but it's sporadic, right?
Yeah.
I had this perfect system and it'll work for anything.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not executing the perfect system,
Yeah.
duh.
Got it.
New England Patriots.
And then as we move to your company system,
Yeah.
it's the first time you're really running this.
Yeah.
So talk about, how that looked for, the preliminary remarks to get started.
We didn't even do that right at the beginning. I'm sure we did informally chart. I call it course charting.
Yeah.
Thoughts, thinking, ideas. Brainstorming.
Mm-hmm.
And especially at first with that other business because he just told you what to do.
Yeah.
So you really didn't have to do a lot. But as I started with my own business, Global Freedom Insurance, and then also consult for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had to start to be more thoughtful about it, but not a lot initially with preliminary remarks to get started.
Okay.
We did a lot around creating a culture of excellence because it was fun because we were doing it kind of simultaneously with this big nonprofit that we were working with and us because they came about at the same time. So we were like training them, but we're really training ourselves too.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So we had the system and we knew what to do, but it was like, well, wait a minute, a horizon statement? That's probably important in our business too,
Right, yeah.
Whereas when we were at the school system, I think we had a mission statement. That was it because they already had all those other things in place.
Right.
So we said, well, we at least want to level the playing field for youth.
Got it.
Right? Because they were in a lower socioeconomic background area.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to level it so that they could compete.
Got it. So as you were doing, creating culture of excellence or design for long term, as you were teaching it, you were also learning it yourself.
Basically, yeah, and adding to it or subtracting or,
Okay.
because sometimes in theory, it's like, oh, here's the great system. And then you go out and practice, you're like I told you before, I go to school for 5 years, get my credential, and the first day a little kid comes up and goes, hey, you little mother effer, to me.
Yeah.
And I said, so I look in my book and I'm like, I don't remember taking notes on that, right?
Yeah.
So there's the do piece of it. So I say there's the theory part of it where you kind of outline it.
Yeah.
Then you kind of actualize it in theory.
Right.
Kind of measure twice, measure 3 times. Then you go out and cut, and you just cut your doggone finger off. And you're like, well, that wasn't very smart.
Yeah.
So how do you pivot? How do you, So we were trying to work it through from 35 to 40, but there was the makings of each of them. And we didn't call them the same things in the after-school program. But it was, conceptually, it was the same.
Got it.
But now we started to put language around it, like assessing certain very important information. How wonderful is that?
Got it.
Jeez.
So then, asking you about the heart of the matter, assessing very important information. Is it even smart to ask because you don't? It'd be next 41 to 45.
Yeah, that's when it started to come together. But I do want to say that each of those were happening, in our original profession of after-school programming. It just wasn't really named and defined, but we were doing stuff with it, right?
Okay.
And then over here, it started to define its way out. But then when we got to go do it, I used to love it because I'm like, they're paying me to build my own company. Right, because that they were literally going on at the same time. There was no consult for kids.
Yeah.
And then they said, well, come meet with the CEO. And they sucker me in. And I go, okay. And then it said, well, and then so, boom, we're off. Yeah.
Got it.
So, yeah, there's not a lot to ask there. But I do want to say that I think there's informal learning and there's the formal or informal part of theory and actualizing and back and forth and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But then you got to take it out in the real world and see if it works.
No, absolutely. I mean, before we jump into 41 to 45, really you've been developing both the holistic and individual system your whole life.
Yes.
But really from 20 to 35, it seems like is when it really took or maybe I should say from 20 to 30 it took a jump, but 30 to 40 is when it took its biggest jumps.
I would say still so I think it went from informal, which means like kind of it just was happening, to formal but in theory, and then formal in what I call actual, but it's still in paper land.
Okay.
And now 40 the last 12 years, we were able to take it out. And we said, okay, we helped this company tremendously while we were helping ourselves. Then we opened up another business. Then in the last 5 or so years, all the consulting and training that we did here, we said, well, wait a minute. It's no different than a business.
Got it.
Now we started to go out and open up more businesses. But we also did more consulting and training with businesses as we were going.
Got it.
So, you know what I mean? It was kind of to where it became an actual. And so now, if we said red shirt on Monday, now they were wearing a red shirt on Monday, and it made sense.
Okay.
So now it's coming full circle together.
Got it. And so from 41 to 45, you are now back in business with your mom.
Yeah.
Consult for
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think she had quit being a principal and a teacher and all that.
Yeah.
And she was doing her own consulting still and whatever. And so I would say that informally, we maybe were doing some things, but it was really kind of whatever.
Okay.
And then pretty quickly we said, why don't we merge this? Because I think she had like Xanda's Consulting or something.
Got it.
And she's like, hey, I like Consult for Kids. Why don't we merge it?
Okay.
And so, or I said, however that played out. And that's when we started merging, probably about 7. I'm not good with time frames, so please, if I say my kid's 23, it could be 43. I really don't know.
Got it.
So please don't hold that against me. But I think that's about the timing of it.
Okay. And then I know that you were now coaching me at this time for the 4 years that I was in high school.
Yeah, so let's figure it out. So we got it all figured out.
Mm-hmm.
We're making a crap ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to work.
Right.
I can retire.
Mm-hmm.
Done. So, what does any good person do that loves to work? He sat back for a half a day and goes, what's next?
Yeah.
Right? And so, and that's a little bit of a fib because I kind of relaxed for a little while.
Yeah. It wasn't long, but.
Yeah, it wasn't long, but maybe a few months because I had worked, to the nubs.
Yeah.
I'd really worked hard to get that up and going. And we were helping a bunch of kids and different things of that nature, and it was just kind of running now on its own.
Got it.
And I wasn't ready to go to the next level, so I just kind of chilled out. And then you, Mr. Idiot, comes to me. He's in 8th grade. He's played every sport, been highly successful across the board, and he goes, "I'm quitting all sports, and I want to become a decathlete." And so I said, well, I was a decathlete, but I never talked to him much about it because I didn't want to push him either direction. So I go, this will last 2 weeks, right? So I buy him, I don't know if you remember that little weight set I bought you.
15-pound bar.
Yeah, and I'm like, this guy, because I don't want to spend a lot of money on
No,
you.
because I was always jumping from sport
Yeah.
to sport.
Even if I had it, I didn't want to spend it on you. Sorry, but so anyway, 7-8 year career and broke all kinds of records. But I remember when he's pumping these weights out, and after about 3 months, I'm like, I don't know. We had some makeshift wacky
squat bar.
Yeah, squat bar almost killed everybody.
Held up by bungees.
Yeah, bungees and tape and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess he's serious. Yeah. So we went and got the gym membership, and the rest is history. But yeah.
If you need to contact Brett or Coach, please do so on his social media accounts, email, and or text. You can find that information in the description below. Again, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Thanks, and we hope you enjoyed.
Round 2. Ding, ding.